Welcome back to the SNHU Weekly update. I want to go through where we are in CYB 200 Cybersecurity Foundations. So I want to go through what you need to know for week 6. So let's go up and check our grades first. And if this is the first time that you've ever seen one of my videos, my name is Giovanni, and I am a junior at SNHU Online. My major is information systems management, and my focus is specifically cybersecurity. So the reason why I show you the grades part is so you understand specifically why you would want to listen to me. I've been holding an A in this class. I'm holding an A in this class, and I want to give you some insights to some things that I have learned as we've gone through this particular week. Let's go to week 6 or module 6. Module 6 has 2 projects. The first is security awareness training. Let me give insight because it's interesting. So let me break down. So for 6, you're going to have these scenarios. So when you get ready to go to 6, you're not going to see these scenarios put out. When you go to the student file, PDF part, there's not going to be a PDF. Don't feel bad when you go there. You can take these scenarios, okay, and they're going to be a set of them. So as you can see, scenario 1, why he did it this way, this is all you really need to focus in on is here because he put them all together. And if you just focus on scenario 1, scenario 2, why does that part even matter? So once you go back to the class, then you'll see that let's just start with the scenario 1 in module 6. So in your project, here is what you're dealing with. This will have a rubric like the rest. If this is your first time looking at anything that has to do with SNHU, or maybe you're just trying to consider if this is a class that you want to take or degree path you want to take, this can give you some insight into that class. As you go through, here is what you need to focus on, okay? It will say, they'll provide you information. Focus on the scenario and prompts you need. If you start writing each line, you will focus easier if you go through and do that, as opposed to trying to dump all of this into a chat GPT and then have it give you an answer. Okay, I am not opposed to you doing that. However, that doesn't help you learn. When you get ready, to focus on human factors and legal factors. So I think that you should just take this question by question and answer it. It is a finalized submission should be 1 to 2 pages, not 3 paragraphs. This is the criteria they grade you on. If you write out your paper, here is something you could ask ChatGPT to do for you. You could say, hey, ChatGPT, here is the criteria. What grade would you give me? It'll look at the paper you wrote, say the areas, and this is the grade that I would give you. For example, I would give you a 85% on human factors. And here is why you are missing a higher grade. So that is something you could use ChatGPT to help strengthen your work, not write it for you. That's project 1, security awareness training. That's the case study for that. Now, let's go back and let's talk about your 2. So your project 2 is your incident analysis. So when you get ready to do this one, this will focus around your triad, which you should know by this point. If you're going into this should be quite easy for you. Let's talk about where in this, because this is a lot of stuff. So you go through all of this and you're like, oh my goodness, I got to do all of this. No, there is a method to the madness. Remember the scenarios? Scenario 2, you pull your scenario 2, and it will say using evidence from the scenario, put an incident briefing together for a manager. At this point in your career as a student, as a junior, okay, or a senior, if you're taking a senior year, you should know how to do an analysis brief on whatever criteria is given to you. That's just something that you've done a couple of times in different classes. So at this point, you should do. Now, choose one security objective. For me, the easiest was confidentiality. because of my background in medicine. Then pick 2 fundamental security design principles. Focus on that. Take and pop these out question by question and answer them. Keep in mind 3 to 5 pages, and it is double spaced. At this point right now, you've been doing APA format for a while, so someone shouldn't have to tell you APA format, 12-point New Romans. Just make sure that the file name, when you get ready to save it, this particular class requires for you to put the class and your name, even if you can't get the names, or if you have this really long name. Okay, let's say you decided to not go 6.2 project 2 submission incident analysis brief, and you make up this title. Just make sure your title is inclusive. If you have a problem with that, you could go to ChatGPT or one of the other AI systems and say, this is what the title of my paper is. This is the criteria it needs to meet. Can you please make my title better? And it will. So there are ways for you to be able to utilize AI to assist you with your writing without going through and using it to plagiarize. So that's one thing. Those are the 2 projects for 6 that I really think that you will need to take some time. This is not something I would suggest you do on a Sunday, 2 hours before you need to turn this in, because this is going to take you some time to write. The way I broke mine down, I just broke down each one of the questions and focused in on each question once a week. So that is all for week 6. Okay. And we just entered into module 7 now, and we're going through module 7. So you have another project that's going to be doing module 7, but for this, the whole point was to focus on module 6. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. I do answer those. If you have questions on this class, I'll be happy to answer those questions. Thank you guys for your time. If this is something that brought you value, consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you next week.
0 o'clock introduction and welcome. 042 course overview and personal background. 114-week 6 breakdown, security awareness training. 120 project 1, security awareness training. 414 project 2, incident analysis. 635 tips for success and conclusion.